There's unusual, and then there's 1 in a billion. Starting with Jyoti from India.
Hello, I'm Jyoti Amge.
She may look like a child, but she's actually a 29-year-old adult. Clocking in at only 2 feet tall, she's considered the world's shortest woman.
9 months, 26 years.
And sure, she has to manage life by keeping her furniture and clothes on the small end. But on the bright side, at least she gets a personal chauffeur that does most of the walking for her. I guess great things really do come in small packages. But we can't talk about Jyoti without talking about this guy. Meet Sotan Kosin, otherwise known as the man who stands above all. I mean, he's over 8 feet tall, which practically makes him a skyscraper when compared to the rest of us.
My body is a gift from God.
He's so tall he towers over cars and door frames, while his hands and feet are even bigger than most people's faces. But being that tall does have its shortcomings. There aren't that many giant-sized mattresses lying around, and when he looks for a couch that's sized for him, they typically come up short. It's not all bad though. At least we know who to call if we need to reach something on the top shelf. Meet the real-life Popeye, Jeff Dabe, the arm wrestling champion with forearms you'd assume were fake, but trust me, they're very real. And like Lady Gaga, he was born this way. The rare condition he has made his hands so big, he makes plums look like peas.
I went and picked some plums this morning off my plum tree. They're really good.
He can also palm a basketball better than Shaquille O'Neal. But to make things even better, he can tear a watermelon open with ease. Yeah, remind me to invite him to my next picnic.
Watermelon, anyone?
The term Big Mouth doesn't quite do Domingo Joaquim Jaquinho justice when trying to describe his chops. In fact, I'm not even sure there's a phrase in the English language that could accurately describe how wide his mouth really is. When fully stretched out, it measures to nearly 7 inches, which means his mouth is big enough to fit most things you find in your fridge. No joke, he can literally swallow a full can of soda like it's nothing. Is anyone else curious what his trip to the dentist is like? Speaking of curiously, I wonder what that like and subscribe button does when you click it. Zion Clark can do more with his top half than most can do with their entire bodies. Not only is he a world record-breaking track star who can run 20 meters in less than 5 seconds, he also has no issues squaring up with people on the mat or in the paint. And he does it all using only his arms. Talk about a rough upper body workout routine. He kind of makes me feel guilty for all the times I said I was too tired for the gym. After seeing Gurkari Petrova Klet's abnormally long tongue, you'd swear she was part reptile.
I don't mind getting negative reaction. I mean, there's different people.
Seriously, I'm sure even some amphibians have a hard time keeping up with her. Her tongue measures 4.5 inches long, and with it, she's able to do things like lick her elbow, ear, and even her eye. Yeah, I have a feeling that this is one for the record books. But Gurkari isn't the only person with an exceptionally long appendage.
There we go.
Meet Jacob Pina, also known as the man who could literally beat anyone in a thumb war. It's so long that you wonder if he waters it every night. Seriously, this brings a whole new meaning to a thumbs up. These are the kind of unusual skills you develop when you don't have a collarbone. Being able to touch your shoulder together like this basically gives you another set of hands to carry things, or to crush things with. Something tells me that this guy and Gado Matarazzo would really hit it off. Amar Barati wasn't kidding when he said he was going to raise his hand to the sky and never put it down again. He did it because of his own spiritual convictions. And I have to hand it to him. When this dude sets out to do something, he does it. Because he's been holding his arm in this position for more than 45 years. Just think about keeping your hand raised in class longer than 5 minutes. So kudos to him, because I don't think I have the willpower to commit to anything longer than a TikTok. Gary Turner might as well have changed his name to Reed Richards, because his skin's elasticity is something I've only ever seen in the movies. And like Richards, Gary's mutation has become his superpower. But instead of stopping crime, he uses that power to break records. Stretching his skin to more than 6 centimeters in length helps him perform some of the most mind-boggling feats, some of which include things like this. Okay, I don't think that face mask is gonna be FDA approved. Then there's Ayumi Takada. And no, your eyes aren't deceiving you. Her ears stretch as much as 4 centimeters, which means she can hold up things using just her earlobes. And once she figured that out, what's the point of using her hands to paint? Next up, the Louvre. The video you're seeing doesn't have any fancy effects slapped on. Paul Carrison's skin really is blue. This all happened after years of ingesting colloidal silver, which, as you can imagine, is as dangerous as it sounds. And before you ask, no, he wasn't part of the Blue Man Group. After more than 25 years, Diana Armstrong's still growing her nails. Only now they're more than 42 feet long. FYI, that's half the size of a tennis court. Because of that, day-to-day life is more challenging for Diana, considering she has to be a bit more careful when picking things up. And trips to the nail salon may take a bit longer than they used to. And don't even get me started on her ability to drive. It's hard to believe she's managed not to break a nail since 1997. Wait, that's as old as me! Speaking of real life, break out all the conspiracy theories because I think we just found Bigfoot. Meet Jason Rodriguez Hernandez, the man with feet so large they practically shake the foundation with every step. Each foot measures more than 40 centimeters in length, which makes finding the correct shoe nearly impossible. Hey, Nike, you seeing this? Get this guy some shoes! Afshin Garazadi may be just over 2 feet tall, but he's no stranger to taking things to new heights. Am I saying that right? He's officially recognized as the world's shortest man after surpassing the previous record holder by almost 4 inches. 4 inches shorter, of course. And when he got his certificate frame, it was almost as tall as he is. In fact, even baby clothes need to be tailored more than 50% just to fit him. But that doesn't stop him from getting a suit tailored to his perfect size. Yu Shenhua, however, goes through life with a suit made out of a different kind of fabric. Because while most guys boast a few stubbles of facial hair, Yu's rocking hair on 95% of his body. I guess it makes sense why people call him the hairiest man in China. Devendra Sutta has 7 digits on each foot and on each hand, which gives his high fives a few extremities. It also makes him the record holder for the most fingers and toes on a living person. My guess is the extra fingers come in handy with all his carpentry duties.
His son worries that he might cut off his finger or toe one day.
Let's just hope he's keeping tabs on where those extra fingers are when he's sawing wood. Speaking of skin conditions, Jamie Kedden's rare condition makes his skin sticky. So sticky, in fact, he turned his head into his own personal cup holder.
Just pull it off. That's one of the ways to do it.
And the amounts of cans this guy could stick to his dome is guaranteed to make him the life of the party. So the next time you decide to split a 6-pack of beer with the boys, leave the ice chest at home and just bring Jamie. Arlindo de Souza's supersized muscles may not be a match for SpongeBob's anchor arms exactly, but that doesn't make them any less impressive. But in order to keep his Hercules-like physique, Arlindo has to go the distance, which means spending hours in the gym, plus the occasional breakfast made of almost a dozen eggs. But getting a 29-inch bicep doesn't happen overnight. It took work, dedication, and a boatload of enhancement oil. Muhammad Samir's abilities, on the other hand, are guaranteed to turn some heads. At just 14 years old, he's already so flexible that he can practically rotate his head a full 180 degrees, a maneuver that would be extremely painful for the average person, to put it lightly. Whenever the human owl gets his driver's license, something tells me he's not gonna have a problem backing out of the driveway. But Samir isn't the only one with inhuman levels of flexibility.
So, basically, my knees, like this. Like this.
This girl showcases her rare skill by bending a knee, but probably not in the way you're thinking.
This is probably what scares people the most, though, is when I'm just like sitting normally and just have my leg like this.
Alright, so what's the next step? Walking upside down?
Both of them. Ooh, that crack felt nice.
Leo Throw Lin is what you get when you mix a human with a fridge magnet. Except in this case, Lin's holding up things way heavier than a kid's artwork.
He first discovered his bizarre powers when he was a construction worker.
He's hanging onto metal objects like hammers. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he could magnetize the entire kitchen. I mean, he can literally pull a car by sticking a metal plate to his chest. No wonder they call him the real-life Magneto.
Lutho's grandchildren now have this unusual power. Well, sometimes.
Then there's Chef Boy Bones, and based on his facial expressions, he'd make better thumbnail faces than Mr. Beast. Someone get this guy a reaction channel. The human spider may not have 8 legs, but trust me, he's just as scary. But before you go hiding under your covers, let me assure you, he's harmless. Meet Troy James, a freakishly skilled contortionist who can move his body in ways you thought to be impossible. Which I guess makes his starring roles in horror movies a little bit easier.
It looks like what I do is extremely painful. Really, it doesn't hurt at all.
No, seriously, James can twist and turn his body up in more combinations than a Rubik's Cube. Some people are born with unbelievable features, while others just prefer to grow them. That's definitely the case for Sarwan Singh, who currently holds the world record for the longest beard on a living person. How long, you may ask? About 8 feet and 25 inches. That's practically a surfboard attached to his face. It gets even more astonishing when you find out his entire beard care routine takes around 30 minutes. Yeah, I wonder if he's ever late to things.